Welcome to the Green Wave Report from On SI Tulane. I'm Doug Joubert. The Green Wave Report is a weekly rundown of stories we put together, analysis of what went on, and what you can expect later in the week from On SI Tulane, part of the Sports Illustrated Network. The Tulane basketball seasons came to an end in the American Conference tournaments this past week. Now it's time to get ready for the 26-27 season, and we'll talk about where we stand on that in a bit. Tulane spring football is underway. You know we have daily reports at 4 o'clock on our YouTube channel and here on our website. Our next one set for St. Patrick's Day, so please join us and dress in green. First, let's talk baseball. Tulane was swept by Creighton in Turchin Stadium. Something like that hadn't happened in a year. The Sluggerbirds are plagued by a pitching staff that shows inconsistencies and a batting lineup that cannot get the timely hits often enough. This past weekend's game against Creighton was a microcosm of the season. Tulane's starting pitching cannot get 4 or 5 good innings, while Wave hitting cannot seem to figure out the opposition's pitchers. This sweep is a teaching opportunity for Jay Ullman and his coaches. Let's see if the students are prepared for this 5-game week coming up. In previous decades, the Tulane basketball programs were considered the real winners of the major sports programs in Uptown. People can rattle off the Green Wave teams that have made it to the tournament championships and beyond. There are some rumblings, though, amongst the fan base for those programs. There was only one player Ron Hunter could rely on this season on a day-in, day-out basis, Rowan Brumbaugh. The preseason American Conference Player of the Year did it all. He had field goals and free throws and assists and steals and rebounds, you name it. Unfortunately, little assistance could be found on a consistent basis on the Tulane roster. So what needs to change? The eternal optimist. It seems like Hunter thinks he has the big man every year, and every time it's not exactly what the preseason notes have promised. Tulane needs a true big man, or big men, who are athletic, have an arm span that'll help with Hunter's matchup zone defense. And yes, we said zone because that's what it really is, Ron. Everybody knew who would have the ball in his hands when the game was on the line this year, so we would not be surprised if some big school swoops in and takes Rowan Brumbaugh away, enticed by money and the chance to improve his NBA stock. Thus, we believe Tulane should make the move and hire someone who can lead the way for Hunter in the NIL minefields on a full-time basis. That won't save Brumbaugh from possibly moving on from Fogelman, but it would allow Hunter the chance to do what he was hired to do, coach. According to sources, Hunter is going to stick around for at least another year, even with the probable absence of his star guard, Brumbaugh. Hunter has worked into many a conversation this year with us that he has been coaching for 40 years. In our experience, you start mentioning the length of your stay in a profession when you're starting to think about hanging up the accoutrement associated with said profession. Will Hunter stick around more than a year? From what we hear, that is completely up to him. Coach Ashley Langford brought in 8 new faces, including freshmen. Unfortunately, by the time the season had come to a close, only 9 players on the beginning of the year roster were in uniform, due to injuries that ransacked the Green Wave. Not making excuses, just the facts. Among those new faces, though, we saw a pair of frosh who truly could take things to the next level. McKaylin Marshall was good enough to be named Freshman of the Year in the American Conference. She drives to the basket fearlessly, and as the year wore on, she learned how to take a foul and get to the free throw line. Shiloh Kimpson was forced to start at the point guard position on February 19th. After starter Kendall Snead had injured her knee. The freshman from Little Elm, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area grew exponentially over the last few games of the year. Here's some things we think that need to be looked at before next year rolls around. Langford's troops average over 17 turnovers a game, way too many to make in a contest. Point guard Snead led the team with 77 total for the year, and she missed the last 5 games of the season. Ball protection needs to be a priority for the Green Wave. You might be surprised at this stat, but Tulane out-rebounded their opponents this year by a slim 8 rebounds on the year. However, out of the 1,200 collective boards, only 389 of them were on the offensive glass. Not really a number that's really looking good. Forwards Dylan Hanna and Amira Mabry had the size to make a difference there, but it wasn't enough. The Green Wave need aggressive, physical players in the front court. Let's talk about the basketball tournament for the American Conference. The American just needs to move it out of Birmingham. Sorry, But Birmingham is not tops on most folks' I want to visit there as soon as I can list. Worse than that, when the home team, UAB, took the court in Legacy Arena for their one and only game of the tournament, you could hear echoes throughout the cavernous venue. Try as they might, the ESPN cameras could not hide the lack of attendance for what was essentially a home game for the Blazers. The American doesn't need a 17,000-seat arena to house its tournament. What it does need, though, is a crowd. Move the games to Memphis. The Tigers averaged almost 10,000 fans a game this year, and it was an off year. Even if Memphis is not in the tournament, you still have Graceland, barbecue, and a not at all bad city to visit. Someone suggested move it to Folkman. No. Tulane averaged 1,300 fans per game. That will not bode well for other teams when they come to town. Yes, New Orleans is a world-class city, but there would need to be an almost guaranteed attendance at the games. Besides that, Fogelman would have to have 4 locker rooms available at all times. That may be a problem for the over 100-year-old venue. Just go ahead. Move the American tournament to Memphis. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Green Wave Report from On SI Tulane. We'll be back Tuesday, 4 p.m. with a special spring football edition. Please subscribe and comment as much as you want. I'm Doug Joubert. We'll see you tomorrow.